So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what your Twitter or tweeting strategy is going to be. At the moment you're limited to 160 characters. There's talk that they might be delimiting that. I don't know what impact that might have on what I'm about to say, but nevertheless at the moment it's 160 characters. And within that 160 characters you've got to write some very interesting, engaging content that's on a variety of different subject matters. So what I tend to say is look at your overall marketing strategy, and when you go out and talk to people, what are they interested in hearing? And typically these things will be, so you'll obviously want to talk about your business, it's the About Me page for your website. You'll be wanting to talk about your own products and services, the benefits and features of those, but equally you should also be talking about industry related news, maybe put some tips, like top tips, how-to guides up there, and some statistics that people are going to find engaging. So the difference between Twitter and Facebook and various others, actually Facebook has hashtags. Twitter started the trend by using hashtags, and other social media channels have now adopted them. I think Google Plus has now got hashtags as well, so all of the major ones are using them. But hashtags are a way of grouping tweets. It's kind of like putting it into a categorized box, if you like. Key thing about the Twitter strategy is to post regularly, because Twitter works on a timeline. So when you first tweet, it appears at the top of the timeline, and gradually as other people tweet, it'll get pushed down and pushed down and pushed down and disappear off the bottom. So if you start using like trending hashtags that are really popular, loads of people are posting about, it's not going to go like that. It's going to go straight off the bottom. So what you need to be doing is posting regularly so that your posts end up being, appearing at the top of Twitter. Now, if you post too often, it's going to get boring for the people who are following you. So have a plan to maybe post, 3, 4, 5 times a day, probably any more than that, and you are going to start to bore people a little bit. And equally, those 4 or 5 posts, you don't want to post them all at 9 o'clock. You want to spread them out over the course of the day. That sounds like a bit of an onerous task, and there are ways to automate that process. So if you look at social media automation tools, my favourite ones are things like Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social. MeetEgg is my all-time favourite one, because you can build a library up and it just chucks stuff out forever and beyond, even if I get hit by a bus, which is great. Not if I get hit by a bus, that's not so great, but the fact that it publishes stuff for me if I get hit by a bus, that's great. So my second tip is based around who you should be following. Now there's so much noise out there at the moment. It's a common mistake for people new to Twitter just to go out there and follow loads of irrelevant people. So I tend to now follow people who are within my industry, interesting people who are going to be publishing interesting content that I would actually be interested in reading. Notice the word is interesting. So be choosy about who you're following. What you don't want is your timeline just to be filled with noise. So there'll be loads of people who follow you who will be selling you get 5,000 Twitter followers. They'll just be spamming that guy who I talked about who was sending out 5 messages at one go at 9 o'clock. Probably don't want to bother following him because he's just going to bore you to death perhaps. So be really picky about who you follow to make sure you're getting the right information back out of it. This has a knock-on effect. Automatically you'll start to attract the right sort of followers as well, and they'll be interested in what you've got to say. So there's a twofold kind of benefit to this. Try and follow people within your market sector as best you can, because again, following loads of irrelevant people kind of is not really going to add anything to your Twitter experience. And before you follow the user, go and have a look at their bio. It's easy just to go, oh, I like his photo, I'll follow them, but go and have a look at the biography and see what sorts of things they tweet about, because it will give you a good idea about the sort of person that you're about to potentially follow. With Twitter, it's really important because it's like a little microcosm of information. Making sure that your brand and identity is really clear on that page, and you basically have like 2 or 3 opportunities to get your brand put out onto your Twitter profile. So you've got the main banner image, which appears across the top. You've got your little avatar pic, which appears within the banner. You'll have your company name or your personal name in there, your website address, and maybe a short biography. So there's 5 key bits where you've got to get that your own brand identity across and make it look really cool. So focus on doing those well. So one thing which I do is I created a banner image which I felt reflected the brand really well, and used it across all of my social media accounts, so that to maintain some consistency. If somebody looks at my Twitter account, my Facebook account. Same goes for the avatar. So this could either be your company logo or it could be your personal headshot, but again, make sure it's consistent across all your social media platforms. The fourth question I very often get asked is about whether somebody who works within a business or organisation sets up an account specifically for their business or for their personal profile. So I think what you've got to ask yourself is, what's my core business strategy here? Am I promoting me or my business, or do people come to my business because they through me, or what's the link there? And how do you go about promoting your business? If you're kind of faceless within your organisation, then really why do you need your own personal Twitter account? Why not make it about your business? But equally, if you have a number of stars within your business, get them to set up their own personal. You can have your own business account, but then they each can have their own personal account, building their own profiles and raising the profile of your business. So the main benefits of using Twitter, it's obviously got SEO benefits because you can drop links in there, you can link back to your own website and things like that. You can be found quite easily. Twitter gets boosted into Google's PageRank in one of its specific sections of its organic search engine listings. So it means that you can appear in Google's organic search engine rankings. And also it's an opportunity to network quickly with other businesses. The downside to Twitter, I find that there's only so much you can get into those 140 characters or 160 characters initially, and there is the potential, as with all social media platforms, for employees to misuse it. So I don't know, if they see something about a celebrity and they put a really derogatory comment up there, or they're racist, or they put something nasty about another employee up there, this is all going to reflect badly on your business. So you've got to be monitoring, if your employees are going to have their own Twitter accounts, then you've got to be monitoring what sort of content they're putting up there. Twitter's also looking to heavily monetize areas of its service, and this could have a negative effect on it. And there's a lot of trolling which goes on in amongst Twitter. So trolling is people just being really negative about you, your business, and the sorts of things you're commenting on. It can make you feel very bad, but again, it can have if somebody's putting I don't know, what appears to be a testimonial up there, a negative testimonial up there, they may not actually be a customer, and that could have a detrimental impact on your business. So just to summarise those key points, create a strategy for a Twitter strategy for your business. Think about who you're going to follow and who you want to follow you. Ensure your brand and identity is really clear and obvious on your Twitter page. Decide whether it's going to be business or a personal Twitter account. And then obviously I talked about the benefits and the drawbacks to having Twitter. Weigh those up and how much of a positive impact that's going to have on your business.